Welcome to Bible Time with Tanner and Aaron. We're continuing our series through the Gospel of John, and today, this afternoon, we're going to be looking at the theme of the world throughout the Gospel of John. So this is a prominent theme throughout the Gospel, and what does it really mean? What does it mean when Jesus says the world, or when John says the world so frequently throughout this Gospel? So there's three themes I'm going to talk about today relating to the world. Number one is that the world is not only ignorant of Christ, but it is actively opposed to his mission and to him as a person. We see in some early verses that the world does not even know its creator when its creator comes in the flesh on earth.
Right, so though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him being Jesus. Oh, and also, though the world does not know you, I know you.
So we can see in one instance this issue of ignorance, that the world does not know him, but it's not just ignorance. It's that the world is actively opposed to Christ, actively opposed to his mission, and actively opposed to Christianity. It even goes so far to say that the world hates Christ.
The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, speaker being Jesus, because I testify that its works are evil. And then another verse is, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first.
And then it even goes so far as this describes Satan as the prince of the world. So that's that first point, that the world, as used in the Gospel of John, is actively opposed to Christ's mission, and even goes so far to say, as the world hates him, and if the world hates you, keep in mind, it hated him first. Moving on to our second point. This is, the illustration of the world helps to show Christ's purpose for coming. There's even some instances where it's very clear, this is not why Christ came, and this is why Christ came.
Right, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. And then another verse says, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world.
It shows what he did come to do, what he did not come to do. In other instances, when it uses the world, it's more closely tied to Christ's purpose of evangelization, bringing people of all different kinds towards his mission, and then church unity.
Look how the whole world has gone after him. And another verse, that the whole world may believe that you have sent me. And then finally a third verse on this topic. In fact, the reason I, Jesus, came into this world is to testify to the truth.
The world may hate Christ, but he still came to save it. Still came to save the world, and as we see in the purpose statement of this gospel found in the 20th chapter, why did he come, or why was this book written? Why, so what?
By believing you may have life in his name.
That by believing you may have life in his name. Beautiful stuff there. Beautiful stuff.
Great.
And we'll go on to the third point. Third point is that understanding the world in the Gospel of John has implications for how we're to live as Christians. There's this, I guess, oft-repeated quotation along the lines of, we are to be in the world, but not of the world. Could you elaborate on that, Tanner?
If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, and that is why the world hates you.
So Christians are in this interesting predicament where you're in the world, but not of the world. You're trying to live in the world, bring about your mission and your ministry in the world, but at the same time not be conformed by its patterns. So a lot of times we're going to see throughout our journey, throughout our faith walk, a lot of issues where we could take a position that's pretty popular in the 21st century, but may not reconcile too well with God's truth. And at the end of the day, what are we going to pick? Are we going to pick popularity? Are we going to pick being loved by the world? Or are we going to pick God's truth? Tough call, but again, maybe not too tough of a call.
Maybe not.
The last point we want to make here is that Christianity is going to cost you something. It is tough at times, but Christ ends with a very encouraging message. So take heart in this.
Right. In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world.
You're going to have trouble, but he has overcome the world.
Right.
And then a last verse that also can give you a little bit of comfort knowing this difficult position being a Christian here on earth.
Right. This is Jesus praying for his disciples. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one.
So Christ praying for us that he wants to protect us from the schemes of this world that it's trying to tempt us into. So a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of real prime rib in this gospel right here. Meditate on it day and night. That's been Tanner and Aaron Bible Time, and we've been going through themes in the Gospel of John. Hope you took something good from this, and God bless.